Well, on the last episode of Full Court Press, it was the end of the summer season, but now we're in the heart of the fall, which means the start of the NBA season is here.
It's now time for your favorite in-depth basketball show with the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops. Goulet!
Welcome to Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet, and I am joined by the one and only Nard Dogg David Bernardi. How's it going?
It's going great. You know, as you've seen on Instagram, I'm quite the adventurous now. All over the place, all those hikes. Just living that BC lifestyle. The outdoorsy man.
I know, we might as well just call you David the Explorer. Dora who? Honestly, though, I'm loving the pics that you're posting. It looks like you're really embracing that BC life, and it's great to see. I love it. That's awesome. Well, we've got the NBA season starting up. It's the 75th NBA season. What a milestone for the league. 75th anniversary. This is huge, and there's a few different interesting topics to discuss as the season goes into it. I don't know, before we look at some of the teams and surprises that the league may see, maybe let's just get right into it. Talk about Mr. Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons today, he went to the Sixers practice, and Doc Rivers just didn't like his attitude and kicked him right out.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things, like, I'm not going to necessarily feel bad for you. You're a multi-million-dollar athlete. Act like a professional. You know, if you're 25 years old, you're a good player, Ben Simmons, but man, you're not that good.
Yeah, he was also suspended game one by the team. And you think he improved his jump shot, his three-point shot this offseason, or no?
Even if he did, it's an attitude thing too. Like, you look at a professional athlete, there's a way that you have to conduct yourself, and Ben Simmons is not following that protocol, and it's like, come on, man, what are you doing?
It's just absolutely wild. And the Sixers didn't help themselves at the end of that playoff run. I can't even say a playoff run. They went to the second round. But yeah, it's just the way it went out. The Sixers pretty much bashing Ben Simmons after that series against the Hawks. And then they did it to themselves. They destroyed Ben Simmons, any trade value he had, and look at where we are now.
Well, the way I see it is that Ben Simmons and Philadelphia, they're no longer a match. You know, they can't work together. They're going to have to ship Ben Simmons somewhere, but the question is where? Where are they going to send Ben Simmons?
I kind of hope he plays some games with the Sixers in Philly, because it's going to be an absolute gong show. Because Philly fans they're very messy.
Well, you know, you talk about Toronto Raptors fans. Of course, you and I are Raptors fans, but it is a very dedicated fan base. You can say the same thing about 76ers fans. You know, the fan base is so dedicated to that team, and they're upset with Ben Simmons. They're going to be booing him, even though he plays for them.
It was maybe last weekend there was some boxing event in Philly, and I don't think Simmons was there, but the crowd was just chanting "F you, Simmons." And just to think if he's gonna be actually in attendance, oh my God.
You talk about Philadelphia, that makes you think of Kyle Lowry, and
Oh man.
Sixers. That was a potential destination for Lowry, and of course, the last episode of FCP, you know, we recorded that on the day of Lowry going to the Miami Heat, who he's playing for this season, and he's doing really well. You know, he did so great in the preseason. I think he's going to have a really good year. I'm happy for him. Obviously upset to see him go, but I am happy for him.
Yeah, I'm very happy for him. I don't know if Heat fans are gonna appreciate Lowry, just about how much he adds to the team. I hope they do, because he's going to be very special for that team. I just hope they put around a good enough roster where they can get that championship, that second championship for Lowry.
Yeah, that would be great. And, you know, after the start of the preseason, a lot of people on Twitter were saying, oh, you know, why are people just pointing out how great Lowry is now? He's been great for years. And yeah, I agree with them. Like, Kyle Lowry has been a fantastic basketball player for the past few seasons. You know, everybody says, oh, Kawhi Leonard carried the Raptors to the championship. Everybody on that team was an integral part of getting the Raptors an NBA title, especially Kyle Lowry. he's a great player, and I'm happy to see him getting that recognition, but it's recognition that was well deserved years ago.
I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler, so if he were to get that championship, that would be pretty special. Do they have the best roster to do it? I don't know, but time will tell.
They've got a solid big three to start things off with, Jimmy, Kyle, and Bam Adebayo. So
now, what about that other top team in the East, the Brooklyn Nets? They got that special player on their roster.
You talk about a player that is bringing some unwanted attention to your team, some negative attention, like Ben Simmons. There's another guy, Kyrie Irving. Oh boy. Do we even want to go there?
He's such a bizarre human being. I don't know what's up with him. Can you tell me?
I have no idea. Obviously there's a lot of debate when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine. Kyrie Irving has said in the past that he believes that the earth is flat, and he isn't a very unique human being, but he's a good basketball player. But with how things have gone with the Brooklyn Nets leading up to the start of this season, I just don't see how Kyrie is going to play a full year with them, even if he gets on the court at all with the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving.
Like you said, he's an amazing basketball player, one of the best in the NBA, and to be honest, he's probably like a really nice guy if you met him in person and all that, but it's just the way he goes about things, how he does it, it's just not good.
Well, and I know that like a lot of people, like probably both of us included, can be very critical of professional athletes, but there is a way to conduct yourself. It's a professional athlete. You have to be professional. And, there have been instances where I've seen a lack of professionalism from Kyrie Irving. Yeah, I'm sure he's not a terrible human being.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is just bringing a lot of negative attention to the Brooklyn Nets organization. And I'm sure they're not too happy about that.
And the thing is, if it wasn't this whole vaccine thing, Kyrie, he would have found another reason for him not to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just always something going on with him.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because he is a really good basketball player.
And so they got KD, they got Harden. If Irving's there playing a full season, they're probably just dismantling the league.
Yeah, you got Steve Nash as your head coach.
Yeah, they got a talented roster around them. It's just a bizarre thing to read about every day.
Yeah. It's definitely a storyline to watch as we go into the start of the NBA season. Kyrie, Ben Simmons, of course, Kyle Lowry at the Miami Heat. And looking into the 75th anniversary season for the NBA, there are some teams that might surprise some people. Like, I don't know if you have any thoughts, any teams that jump out to you that might kind of take some people by surprise at how they do this season?
You're talking about the Bulls earlier. What do you think about them?
I think the Bulls are, I could see them finishing like even a third, fourth in the Eastern Conference.
Really?
Yeah, you never know. You got Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, you got Nikola Vucevic, Matt Thomas, former Toronto Raptor, and of course Zach LaVine.
Stanley Johnson, you're forgetting about it.
Oh, yeah.
They're just trying to recreate the Raptors.
Exactly. But yeah, I think it's a strong roster, and I think DeMar DeRozan's a guy after doing well in San Antonio still has... Yeah, I feel like it almost appears that he still has a lot to prove after being traded by the Raptors a few years ago. And he just almost looks like a man on a mission. So I could see the Bulls doing quite well this year. I just have a feeling. I could be completely wrong, but I have a feeling that they're going to do well this season.
Yeah, and you got the Hawks. They, out of nowhere, made it to the conference finals last year. Another year under their belt with an excellent coach like McMillan, who I think is probably going to win Coach of the Year if they win 50-plus games, which they probably will.
Yeah.
I think that they can make another appearance in the conference finals. Denver Nuggets, they gave Porter that humongous contract, and maybe he lives up to that and becomes the most improved player of the year, makes the All-Star team. I think Denver could finally make it to the finals. I like the Lakers, but not sure if I'm buying the hype at the moment.
That's fair. What about the Milwaukee Bucks? Defending NBA champions. How do you think they're going to fare this year?
I mean, yeah, I think they'll do really well. I don't know if they'll repeat because it's super tough to repeat in the NBA. I think they could possibly make it to the conference finals, but I think it's Brooklyn Nets. It's up to the Brooklyn Nets. They're going to the finals if they're healthy. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Lakers, I have a feeling the Lakers could do really well this year. I know they you've got LeBron, Westbrook, Anthony Davis. They've got a great roster. Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, it's Rajon Rondo, of course. Like they've got a really good team. I think they can go really far. I don't know if they're going to win the championship, but I think the Lakers could make a strong push to make it to the finals.
Yeah, and we haven't even brought up the Utah Jazz, who finished first in the West last year, and the Phoenix Suns, who made it to the finals last year.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the Suns. What a breakout year that was for them. So again, the Western Conference, I believe, is going to be more powerful than the Eastern Conference as it has been for the last 15 years. So
I'm pretty set on Brooklyn Nets making to the finals, but in the West, it's the Jazz, Suns, Nuggets, Lakers. Who knows? Maybe the Mavericks.
yeah,
Something special.
I was going to say, what do you think about the Mavericks this year? What kind of season is Luka going to have?
Oh, he'll have a spectacular season, maybe an MVP season. But the thing is, I don't know if they upgraded enough to make it to the finals, and they still have Porzingis. But I think they'll be a playoff team, obviously, top 5. But maybe they surprise me. Maybe they make it to the finals. Like I'm saying, the West is very open at this moment.
Oh, it totally is, and it's like you read my mind. We're on the same wavelength here because you look at possible predictions for champions, NBA champions and MVP. I've got Luka for possible MVP this season. That's who I'm thinking.
I'm gonna go with Joel Embiid. I just think he's gonna carry that Sixers team to a top 3 seed in the East, and his numbers are gonna be too good to pass up on. I think Jokic is gonna be up there again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does last season's MVP? How do you think he's gonna fare?
Oh, he's gonna have another tremendous season. But he won't back-to-back it. And it's just funny saying all these teams, all these names, and haven't even brought up the Clippers because, yeah, Kawhi's out for the season. If he's back, it'll be at the end of the season. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But how far the mighty have fallen.
I know.
Kawhi Leonard.
I wonder if he's kicking himself for leaving Toronto.
Yeah, Drake recently said that he does miss the fans. He misses just the team in general, but that's not good enough. He should have just stayed. I know family's important, but you can always join your family. He could have just went to LA later in his career, could have just won a couple more championships in Toronto, became an absolute god like he was in that first season, but can't always talk about the past. We're in the future now. And the future Raptors, the present Raptors, what do you think of them?
You know what? Obviously, like a lot of people are saying, and I don't completely disagree, they are in a state of rebuild. That that makes sense. They've got some returnees from last year, and they have their main anchors: OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and Chris Boucher from seasons past. But they do have some really strong new players. Gary Trent, the Raptors got him last year in the trade with Portland to ship Norman Powell over to the Trailblazers. So Gary Trent is great for the future of the Raptors. A guy like Kem Birch, who's Canadian. Precious.
He finished out strong at the end of the season, Kem Birch with the Raptors.
He did great. And Precious Achua, who the Raptors got in the sign and trade deal with Lowry.
He was pretty decent in the preseason.
He was. Yeah, and then you've got a veteran like Goran Dragic, who I don't see him sticking around with Toronto long term. I could see someone like Precious sticking around for a lot longer because he's younger.
Yeah, Dragic, I've always liked him. Yeah, I've always liked him. I've always thought he's a really good basketball player, and yeah, he might not be on the Raptors for long, but I see if the Raptors are in the playoff hunt, like they're in the middle of the pack in the East at the trade deadline, I could see them keeping him because just why not? Yeah, I don't think they're gonna get a huge haul for him. Maybe just a second round pick. Mm-hmm. If they're lucky, a first round pick from some contender. But I think Raptors are gonna like his just the way he plays. Like he's a hard worker, and at the end of the offseason, they signed, I can't say his name properly. Svi Mihalik, but he's a nice shooter. I'm looking forward to see what he can provide off the bench. And we haven't even talked about Scotty Barnes, the number 4 pick in the draft.
He looked great in the preseason.
Oh, he was phenomenal. He outplayed a guy that a lot of Raptors fans thought they should have drafted, Jalen Suggs. So I think Scotty, his shooting is not going to be the best. I think we'll notice that right away in the season. But he just does everything else. His defense is incredible. And if Scotty Barnes gets that jump shot going, then oh boy.
Yeah, look out. And it's, yeah, you talk about Jalen Suggs and everyone's like, why are you drafting Scotty Barnes? Well, Scotty Barnes in the preseason, you know, he averaged about 1 or 2 more points than Suggs. He averaged more rebounds and more assists, more steals than Jalen Suggs. You know, nothing against Jalen Suggs, but Scotty Barnes, you know, Masai Ujiri knows what he's doing. So
Barnes is a point forward, so
important for the Raptors.
When it comes to Rookie of the Year, I think it's going to be between Cunningham and Jalen Green.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Jalen Green because the Rockets are just going to give him the green light to shoot anything he wants. So he'll be putting up great numbers on the offensive side there, and that's probably going to get him Rookie of the Year. But yeah, how do you see the Raptors doing this season?
You know what? I think they might squeak into the playoffs. Also, I do want to point out another player that I'm excited about. Yeah, Yuta Watanabe. Yeah, I think he's got so much potential. He's a very talented player, and I think he'll bring a lot to the Raptors bench. I think, yeah, the Raptors, you know, I love the Raptors. I always have, I always will. I'm not going to, in like the Eastern Conference, it's totally different than the West. If the Raptors were in the Western Conference, it would be like, okay, yeah, they're not making the playoffs. But the Raptors with the Eastern Conference the way it is and the competition they're facing, they do have a chance to pull off a string of wins, especially coached by Nick Nurse, who is just so good. I think the Raptors do have a chance to maybe squeak in at like 7th or 8th in the playoffs. But the thing is, they you know, they have OG, who's continually improving. You've got Pascal, who you know, Pascal's going to be
he'll miss the start of the season.
Exactly. Same with Chris Boucher is going to be out for a little bit. So, but once those guys come back, that'll be huge for the Raptors. But I think OG is going to have a really big breakout year, even more so than he did last season. So I don't know. I'm optimistic, and I think the Raptors do have a chance at making the playoffs. I'm not going to totally write them out.
Yeah, and I'll say they haven't played in Toronto regular season game since March of 2019 or 2020. Sorry, it's been a while. I cannot wait for that home opener. Fans are going to be insane, you know. And I think that could bring more wins to the team. Honestly, I'm probably thinking anywhere from 5th seed to 10th seed this year. I think they'll be a play-in team. And to be honest, I feel like if late in the season they're in that range, maybe tank again, top 5 pick. Because Masai even said recently, I saw some video, he said, we don't want to do that play-in tournament. We want to be in the playoffs and anything could happen. So yeah, it's nice to do that play-in thing, but you don't want to get there. You want to secure that playoff seed, get that home court advantage.
They're definitely at a cross. You know, it's a new era for the Raptors. Lowry's gone, and it's time for the young guys to, you know, it's interesting. It's going to be the first full season without Kyle Lowry. I would have loved to have seen Lowry end his career as a Raptor, you know, with them. Well, that would be great. You know,
he said, if he has to sign a one-day contract, he will.
I love that. You know, it's amazing. But, you know, it is kind of a shame that the Raptors were playing in Tampa during Lowry's last game. But, you know, it is what it is. It's how things are, how things played out. But he still is, there's no arguing, the greatest Raptor of all time. So
yeah, I can't wait till his first game back. I'm pretty sure it's on ESPN or TNT, so that's pretty cool to see the national audience seeing that. But yeah,
to be at that game in Toronto, oh man,
greatest Raptor of all time.
Absolutely wonderful. But I'm feeling good about the Raptors this year. I'm optimistic.
I think there is a good chance they'll make the playoffs. So I think they're anywhere from 38 to 46, 48 wins kind of a season.
That puts them right around the early 2010s years.
And people are forgetting what was it, last year, they were doing pretty well, even though they were in Tampa, until that whole COVID, like the team got hit with COVID badly. And like, I think they were third or fourth in the East, and then they had some COVID thing, and like, Pascal was out, Van Vliet was out, I think OG was out, and that just ruined their whole season, and they just threw in the towel. They are a very talented team, and they're back in Toronto. They could be a huge surprise this season.
I guess we just wait and see as we enter the 75th NBA season. Well, that's going to wrap things up for this episode of Full Court Press as we get all excited, get ready for the 75th NBA season. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to check out all episodes of Full Court Press on our YouTube page and on our Facebook page as well. Give that a like. And thanks so much for tuning in and supporting us here at Full Court Press. Nard Dogg, where can people find you on the social media?
You can find me on the Twitter and Instagram at DavidBernardi7.
Excellent. You can find me at JustinGoulet21. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet.
And on the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi.
And we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
You've just been hit with Full Court Press. Courtesy of the men, the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops.